who doesn't want to age well? Everybody does, of course. So that's why when I saw an advertisement for the Musely Age Well Pill, I got curious, and so this is what I discovered about it. So if you go to the Musely website, you look up the Age Well Pill, one of the things that I would call your attention to right off the bat is this is not technically a dietary supplement, because you will need a prescription to get it. And I say that because if you scroll down to see the ingredients in the Musely Age Well Pill, the first ingredient you see is in fact a prescription medication called metformin. Below that, you will see 4 other ingredients which are indeed dietary supplements. So having said that, let me now share with you the research on the dietary supplements in terms of whether or not they're going to help you or not. And let's begin with fisetin, which is a plant-derived compound. I found 2 human clinical trials on this stuff. The first study involved 10 people over the age of 50 who took 500 milligrams of fisetin every day for 6 months. 4 of these 10 people had their biological age decreased, although in 5 of the people it actually increased, and in 1 of the people there was no change in their biological age. And interestingly, the study also reports that there was no change in telomere length as well. This next study involved people with knee osteoarthritis, and one of the things I like about it is that it's a placebo-controlled trial. They took the fisetin based on how much they weighed. That may or may not be the same amount of fisetin that is found in the Age Well Pill. Regardless, the results of this trial showed that fisetin had no advantages over the placebo in terms of knee osteoarthritis pain, physical function, cartilage health, or biomechanics, and most of the laboratory outcomes didn't show any improvements either. Next up is coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10, and this is a very highly researched dietary supplement. It helps us make energy. I won't go too much into the research on CoQ10 because there's just way too much research to review in just one video, but I will say one thing is that the Age Well Pill seems to be not giving us an awful lot of this compound. I see only 100 milligrams in this Age Well Pill. So that says to me that this might be a little bit on the low end. Next up is alpha-ketoglutarate. They're identifying it as calcium alpha-ketoglutarate. When I looked into this compound, I found 3 human clinical trials. So the first one involves 75 women with osteopenia. They take 6 grams or 6,000 milligrams of alpha-ketoglutarate plus 1,600 milligrams of calcium a day for 6 months. Results of this trial show that a bone reabsorption marker called CTX dropped by about 37% from baseline in those who took the combination of alpha-ketoglutarate and calcium after 6 months. And there was also an improvement in the lumbar spine bone mineral density of about 1.6%. So that's good. However, it was unclear whether this improvement in lumbar spine density was greater than in those who just took calcium by itself. This next study involved 42 adults. They're in their 60s, and they took about 1,000 milligrams of calcium alpha-ketoglutarate daily for about 7 months. One result of this trial that got people's attention was that the DNA methylation test that they used reported an average reduction of about 8 years in estimated biological age. In other words, these people seem to be aging about 8 times slower than those who didn't take the supplement. Sounds good, but this is not a randomized clinical trial, and there was no placebo group to compare the results to. And DNA methylation tests are interesting. However, this study did not show that the people taking the supplement were actually healthier. The Age Well Pill also contains nicotinamide riboside, which is an NAD supplement and is arguably the most well-researched of the NAD supplements on the market today. Now, I've done an awful lot of videos on nicotinamide riboside and other NAD booster supplements, and I'm going to link them below so you can see that research for yourself. But one thing I will tell you about the Age Well Pill is that it seems to contain a lower end dose of nicotinamide riboside than I have seen in many studies. In a lot of the nicotinamide riboside studies that I have seen, people are taking anywhere from 250 up to 1,000 milligrams of this compound. Oh, and I know what you're thinking. What about metformin? That's the medication in the Age Well Pill. Well, it absolutely has that anti-aging reputation, probably due in part to the rumors of tech billionaires who are taking it to try to help them live longer. However, when I look at the research on metformin and aging, I remain unconvinced. For example, here's a list of some of the metformin aging studies that I uncovered. In several of the studies, it did not appear to improve walking speed, help frailty, or walking endurance. It also appeared in some studies to reduce some of the muscle building and aerobic benefits of exercise. Something else about the Musely Age Well pill: I'm unable to find any human clinical trials where all of the ingredients in the Age Well pill were shown to help people age well. Based on that, I'm out. I want to see at least a couple human clinical trials of the Musely Age Well pill to get a better idea of whether the price is justified.